Alright guys, Tactical Rabbit here, and who's in a good mood today? They announced the rule set yesterday. It is straight fire. I'm so happy for the upcoming season of competitive Call of Duty. Competitive integrity is going to be at the best it's ever been. Psych, the rule set's trash. Let's go through it. So, okay, it was announced last night, the version 1 rule set for Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and usually they announce it, kind of earlier than this, but then again, the game came out in October, so a couple weeks down the line is not too bad. But anyway, it's been officially announced. There's a lot of questionable things in here. We're going to go through the rule set first of all. We'll go through some tweets and reactions of the pro teams, and I'll give my opinions as well. And, I can't say I'm happy with it, but at the same time, I cannot say I'm surprised. If this was any other developer, I'll just say this to preface the video. If this was any other developer, people would be even more up in arms than they already are. But because it's Treyarch, people seem to give them some sort of a pass. Treyarch tried to pull this shit in Black Ops 3 as well, and it destroyed the game in some sense because League Play or Arena was terrible. Not only did Ban and Protect ruin it to some extent with how cumbersome it was, but also they tried to use Ban and Protect as just like, okay, we'll put Ban and Protect in, and then we don't have to ban anything else because Ban and Protect will just solve all our problems. Like the pros will just ban out UAVs and all that kind of stuff. That obviously went down the pan very quickly. For some reason, the developers seem to think it's a good idea to keep having them develop the rule set, even when the pros know far better than they ever could. And they ruined Black Ops 3 Arena for me, given that Awareness was still allowed and Sixth Sense was still allowed many months into the game and had to be banned out to be Ban and Protect. Just ridiculous, and they're going down the same route again. I honestly think League Play this year is going to be an absolute travesty, and maybe the competitive scene can be saved with the help of gentlemen's agreements, but, let's begin. So, we scroll down through the article. Obviously, it's 5v5 this year. They talk about here, our goal is to refine the rules following tuning changes made to the game after CWL Las Vegas. So that implies to me, this rule set is basically locked until Vegas, which is honestly tragic, because Vegas is probably the most important event of the year outside of Champs. If you place, I think, top 4 at this event, you're guaranteed a spot in Pro League. And then, if you don't place top 32, you cannot get a spot in Pro League at all. So if you place outside of top 32, let's say you're coming through open bracket, you don't quite make it, your year is basically done until Champs, because the top 32 get to go to the qualifier to get into the Pro League, and obviously being only one stage, it's a much bigger deal than it has been in the past. So of course you want Vegas to be the most competitive event possible, with the rule set being in the best place, and the 2Ks are starting up in about a week's time, so you'd expect some sort of refinements to be made before Vegas, but doesn't seem it's going to be the case. Classic. Treyarch also provided its preferred rule set for the season. These combined efforts between the pros and Treyarch led to the rule set, which is just fantastic stuff. Look at this tweet from Ajax right here. Slasher says, everyone take... Okay, so Ajax says something along the lines of, we need people that aren't yes men deciding the rules, that sort of stuff. And Slasher replies to him saying, yeah, we didn't say yes to a lot of these things, but Treyarch and the other people involved with the decision making decided it was fine. And then Slasher gives this hilarious reply, which will probably become a copy pasta. Let's continue with the rules. So, we start here with Control. I want to do another video on the problems with Control as I see it. I think Control needs major changes to stop it being really defense heavy. But anyway, we can discuss that at a later date. Let's look at the maps. This is the one positive thing actually to come out of this rule set. There's quite a lot of maps to talk about here. 6 maps for Control. Incredibly, Jungle's one of them. I'm so confused. Has anyone been playing Control on Jungle? Why have they decided that's a map? No one's been scrimming it. People have been scrimming Control, but not on Jungle. That's just a pubs map. It's been the way since Black Ops 1. Why is that in there? I have no idea. Also, the 2-second respawn delay for both teams makes no sense. I think they should make a 2-second respawn delay for the defense, because the defense not only has to control only one of the points to win, but also they spawn much closer to the objective, so whatever, I'll talk about that later. Hardpoint maps, plenty of them. 7 of these. I'm somewhat surprised that Hacienda isn't in here, and Summit is in here. It doesn't make any sense. Summit is one of the smallest maps we've ever had in Call of Duty. It worked nicely in Black Ops 1, and it was remade as Uplink in Black Ops 2, because you didn't have unlimited sprint, your character didn't move incredibly fast, and it felt like a well-designed map. In this game, the remakes feel nothing like the old maps. They play somewhat similar, but especially in competitive, with the unlimited sprint and how quick you move, it's just ridiculous, the pacing on these maps. And Summit is just going to be Nuketown TDM, I'm sorry. It is going to be awful for Hardpoint, and good luck to Paradox keeping up with the Observing. Jesus Christ. Then we go into Search and Destroy maps, another 7. So, I like the fact there's a lot of S&D maps. It gives a lot of room for change in vetoes, and maybe some of these maps will go over the course of the year, but at least we won't have the same really boring series in terms of map sets that we had in World War II. So I guess that's a positive. Also, there's no mention in this rule set of ban and protect, so that doesn't seem like it's going to be coming in this year. Specialists. Here we go. This is where things get spicy. The only one they banned is Nomad. This is basically what I predicted. I said a couple of hours before it came out, all they're going to do is ban Nomad. They did ban the Sensor Dart and Tac Deploy, but that's the only thing that are banned from the game. Like, I want to talk more about the Specialists in a second, but the stuff that they didn't ban is frankly ridiculous. Okay, so Torque. He has a barricade which he can put down on the ground, which has a guardian effect. He has the razor wire, which there's barely any counters to, by the way. Okay, this can go in a second. So they ban Nomad. They get rid of his dog. They get rid of his mesh mine. They also get rid of the sensor dart on recon, but the vision pulse, which allows the entire team to see your team through the wall, that's perfectly fine. Tac Deploy restricted in hardpoint and S&D only. So in Control, they're saying, okay, instead of fixing the spawns and making the game a bit better, we'll just let the pros use Tac Deploy, so maybe that'll help the game to some extent. What are they thinking? They also say down here, they're looking to further tune the specialist gear, in specifically for esports mode, the Tac Deploy operation, and the reactor core's strength and radius, the damage and durability of Torque's gear, and more. But again, this is coming after Vegas. There isn't enough time. The event is too important. This rule set might as well be pubs. The specialists run public matches, and you're going to ban about 4 out of 20. And at least another 10 are frankly ridiculous for competitive play. Go into that in a second. Weapon restrictions. This is what I find so counterintuitive about the rule set they've announced. We've gone 5v5 in order to appeal to casual players. We've kept the specialists in so casuals can see their pros use their favourite specialists. But then we're going to ban out the weapons that public match players really like. The Titan, the Hades, the VKM. I see these all the time in pubs. I'm not saying they're not ridiculous. Like, I think the Titan is frankly pretty ridiculous and it kills super quick and maybe it shouldn't be allowed. But the fact that they're going to ban these with a click of a finger, but they're not going to ban all of the incredibly ridiculous specialists, I'm just shocked at their love affair with specialists in this game. I don't really see what they add. I'd be so intrigued to see what the casual community thinks of specialists. Do they actually like them? In Black Ops 3, they were a side effect on the game. Mostly it was gunplay. Mostly it was who's got the better movement. The specialists were like, oh, okay, yeah, give me the defuse and I'll get heatwave. That might help us in the round 11. This game, they run the game. They're everything about the game. It's all about specialists. Not only do you get the major ultimate ability, you also get the thing on the side. The Seeker drone, the thing that seeks you out and kills you, is still allowed in competitive play in this rule set. Like, I have no idea what they're thinking. Tac Mask is something of a counter, but even then, it still rolls around and finds the enemy. Like, you can just follow your own Seeker drone and find the enemy, and it still takes about a second for the guy, even with Tac Mask, to rip the thing out of his chest, and oh my god. So many things feel off to me. Treyarch are just in love with their specialists. They can't seem to get rid of them at all costs. They've only got rid of Nomad. Playing GBs last night, playing the GB rule set is far and away better than the CWL rule set. GB rule set, all the specialists are banned. If you want to play the CWL rule set right now, you're literally playing pubs. You have to run engineer, you have to put FMJ on your guns because armor isn't even banned. Stim shot and armor are still allowed. It's a modern day equivalent of Juggernaut and stopping power. Like, maybe not to the same extent, but absolutely mind-blown. Now, the rocket launcher is currently banned. They're looking to change it into the future so it doesn't deal as much damage to players, so you can use the rocket launcher to counter equipment and score streaks. It makes sense to have it to counter score streaks, but the fact that you're suggesting that the rocket launcher is going to be the counter for the barricade, the barbed wire, that's what the rocket launcher is going to counter? Like, you're not going to give us perks that counter these things very nicely? Isn't that the whole idea of perks? Aches made a great point on that in a second we'll discuss. So that's the weapon restrictions. Now, they've restricted some attachments. High caliber rapid fire. Hey, they're actually banned rather than having to go out through ban and protect. Laser sight 2 is banned. Okay, I'm not really sure why this is the case because, okay, it increases your hip fire spread really tight. But why is laser sight 2 banned and not, say, grip 2? Also, this steady grip here, this is an attachment on the SG-12 shotgun, which is already banned, so why is it even mentioned here? Perks. Gung Ho, Skulk. I don't know why Skulker's banned. Gung Ho has something of a glitch right now. I'm not even sure whether it's a glitch, but if you're sprinting with Gung Ho and you tap left trigger to break your sprint by aiming down sight, you can shoot immediately, which is somewhat powerful. But why have they not gone with a similar attitude on Gung Ho, where like, okay, we'll try and get tweaks for maybe esports play, or we'll try and tweak the perks so that it's actually viable. They just ban it out with a click of a finger, like. So Gung Ho and Skulker have just gone at no problems at all. Don't really see why the pros would have had too much problems with these perks. But the specialists, which I'm sure the pros when they went to test the game were up in arms about, who cares? Like, ban Nomad? Yeah, okay, his dog's a bit ridiculous. Everything else, it's fine, it's fine. Score streaks, they've also banned a fair few as well. This is fine. They haven't banned the strike team, which I think is a little bit strong. If you get a strike team, 2 lads dropping down the map, but, that's not too bad. Gear as well, this is what I'm talking about. Stim shot and armor are still allowed. Acoustic sense, which is basically a mix of sixth sense and awareness, that's not allowed, which, okay, fair enough. You still use the ComSec device, which is hardline, but I think gentlemen's agreements to some extent are going to come into play here, where pretty much everyone's going to be using stim shot. That's what I guess. But there's certainly going to be players like guys like Clayster who, if something's allowed, they're going to try and take advantage of it to the best extent. I wouldn't be surprised to see Armored pulled out quite a lot in Search and Destroy, because that initial engagement, if you're taking a long-range engagement, having 1 extra shot to kill, unless the guy has FMJ, is a really big deal. And you can't say, oh, well, FMJ is a good counter to Armored, so it's no problem. Not every gun has FMJ. The only good AR with FMJ is the ICR. Maddox, I'm pretty sure, doesn't have it. I don't know if the Sorg has it, the SMG. Like, ridiculous in my opinion. So that's basically it for the rule set. The online ladders will begin October 29th, so I think they're still going to have to be playing their 5 pro point matches a day, the pro teams. The first 2Ks on November 4th. Let's go through some of the pro player feedback and reaction to this. So, Crimsix says, everything looks good except for jungle control, tactical allowed and control, Ajax and Torque are still allowed. Okay. Ajax, first of all. Let's go through the specialists that are still allowed. This is a list of specialists courtesy of rankedboost.com. Battery, okay, War Machine and Cluster Grenade. Both of these are super strong explosives. These are by far the strongest explosives you can get in the entire game. There's literally no reason for me to spend a point running a frag grenade or a tactical or anything like that when Battery gets the Cluster Grenade, which is infinitely better for free, and Flak Jacket has almost no countering to these sort of things. Even the RCXD, it runs around, it blows up. Even if you have Flak Jacket, a lot of the time you're still going to die to it. The Flak Jacket basically doesn't counter War Machine at all. You're still getting wrecked. Like, the perks are pathetically useless. Perks need to be jacked up to another level if they're going to have any chance of countering the specialist abilities. And look, Call of Duty is a first-person shooter. Gun-on-gun action is the priority. It should be about who can shoot better than the other team? Who has the better teamwork than the other team? Who's got the better coordination? Who's got the better strategies? Who's got the better tactics? Right now, the specialists rule the game, and I'm pretty sure nobody likes this. Even the casual scene, I'm guaranteeing they're getting annoyed at the specialists in public matches, but yet they're forcing them down our throats in competitive play. Just doesn't make any sense. The reason why I got into competitive Call of Duty in the first place was I was playing Black Ops 2. I didn't like keeping on dying to shotguns. I didn't like dying to C4. I didn't like getting quickscoped by a sniper. Didn't like getting shock charged and claymored and bouncing betties and all of that bullshit. That's why the competitive scene was so much fun. I could play League Play without any of the BS in the game. I was playing the best version of Call of Duty there was, in my opinion. Competitive is now becoming public matches. If it was the other way around, okay, it would take away to some extent from casual players, but I guarantee some casual players would have a lot more fun playing a more competitive rule set. If we got rid of all the non-competitive maps in Call of Duty history, say Black Ops 2, instead of playing like Turbine and Overflow and those maps, the only maps that were allowed were the competitive ones. You could play Slums, you could play... Okay, maybe you put Nuketown in there as well, a bit of fun. You put Raid, you put Standoff, you put Yemen, all the good maps in the game. I guarantee the public match players would have a much better time, and they consider the competitive maps to be the best maps in the game, on average. And as I say, Treyarch's love affair with the specialist is gonna be devastating for the competitive side of this game. So, Battery is completely allowed. Torque, he puts the barricade down. He puts the razor wire down. I saw a clip on Twitter yesterday. They planted the bomb 5-5. He puts the barricade down with the Guardian. He puts the razor wire on the bomb. What's the other guy meant to do? You're expecting him to pull out a rocket launcher and destroy it, are you? What perk is meant to counter that? He doesn't, his gun doesn't even have enough bullets to kill the barricade, let alone the barbed wire. You're expecting him to pick up another teammate's gun to kill it? Takes him 30 seconds at least to destroy both of those things. That he can even defuse the bomb. The other guy's just got to run away and hide. He gets a notification anyway when the guy's trying to crawl through the barbed wire. Insane why this hasn't been banned. Recon, Vision Pulse. Now, Vision Pulse in Black Ops 3, I didn't mind it so much. At least there was a skill gap in that, okay, you can see the guys through the wall, but you've got to call it out to your teammates. This year, everyone sees it. What? And it lasts a really long time as long as the Vision Pulse guy doesn't die as well. And how the hell are you meant to kill him when all of your professional player teammates can see the enemy on the map? Sensor Dart is at least banned. I guess that's a positive. Annihilator's very strong, but, I preferred the Black Ops 3 version where you at least had to cock it. Right now, you just spam it 6 bullets in a row. Tac Deploy, we talked about that. Ruin is a fine character. Grab Slam, absolutely fine. Grapple Gun is also, I think, is really cool. Like, this could be the glitch, like the flashy play kind of aspect of the game. I don't like that you can use it at the start of an S&D round. You get a lot of a really big boost at the start of the round, breaks the timings. Okay, Crash, why is this allowed? This gives you 50 extra health if you're on 150. Otherwise, it just bumps you up to 200 in whatever situation you're in. Say your teammate on the other side of the map pops the iPad out, you're in a gunfight down to 2 HP, bang, up to 200, you win the gunfight immediately. What is going on there? Like, it shouldn't give you a boost if you've taken damage in the last couple of seconds or something like this. Something's got to change. The Assault Pack's fine. Reactor Core is frankly insane. It kills you in about 2.5 seconds as long as you don't have Tac Mask, I think is the perk that somewhat counters it but doesn't really counter it. It kills you through walls. Like, okay, the enemy team is in the hard point. You put the Reactor Core down on the other side of the wall. The pros are going to figure out a really efficient way to use it, covering like 60% of the hard point. What can the people in the hill even do? Even if they have Tac Mask, it still kills them in about 4 seconds, and it still prevents them from healing. Like, there is no counter to this stuff. Say in Search and Destroy, you've planted the bomb, you check it at 15 seconds, you go behind cover, bang! Put your fist to the ground, and just sit there for 7-8 seconds. Even if you die in the process by taking the damage from it, doesn't matter. You've stopped the bomb being defused by just sitting there on the other side of the wall. What? Okay, Ajax. What is going on, man? The ballistic shield. You bring the thing in front of you, your pistol shoots through it, there's nothing you can do. What is the counter to this? You can't even kill him with a gravity slam, you can't even kill him with a cluster grenade. Someone plants the bomb, they back up into a corner with the riot shield. You're not winning that round, there's no chance. Especially in a professional player, professional team. Okay, let's break the hard point, get my boy to bring the riot shield out first. He can even shoot you through it, like... At least a riot shield was somewhat competitive in that you couldn't really shoot back. And even the hole that he shoots with the gun through, you can't shoot him back. That could be some degree of a counter. That, okay, there's a little hole in the shield, maybe you can shoot if you've got really good aim. What are they thinking? The 9-bang as well. Tac Mask literally halves the duration. Doesn't counter it, nothing like that. You charge up the 9-bang, you chuck it in the hill. Even if everyone has Tac Mask, you're still going to get at least 2 kills. You might as well chalk up the loss if you get 9-banged. Nomad is thankfully gone, and Prophet, okay, the Tempest is relatively reasonable, it's not that powerful, but it's still pretty strong, the fact that it spreads between players, and the Seeker Shockmine is still allowed. Like, I'm just mind blown. So Crim6 talks about it here to some extent. He doesn't really like Gridlock S&D. He makes a good point on the Seeker as well. We banned the automatic hunting specialist, which is Nomad's dog, but yet you still allow the hunting equipment. Gridlock S&D, I don't think will be a problem if the bomb sites are moved, which Bevel's talked about a couple of days ago. Fog of War is actually ridiculous. The amount of times I see someone on the minimap behind me because my teammate saw him but he didn't actually see him, and let's move on through the tweets a little bit more. I saw this tweet from Birdman as well. Can't wait to set up my barbed wire on the hill while I headglitch my Guardian with armor on. Like, this is a competitive rule set, ladies and gentlemen. Endura tweets this, which is what I was mentioning before, how they banned the Titan, and, how is this catering to public match players? Beowulf talks about the Ajax's shield here. 1v1, 5-5, he plants the bomb, pops the shield and puts his back into a wall. Like, the guy retaken has no chance to win the round. Chino is trying to be a little bit more positive, so I respect him for it, but not necessarily saying I agree. This is V1 of the rule set. You have to understand, we wanted more things out, but this is Treyarch, baby. They want to see what can and can't work. Okay, maybe you've got a positive stance on this as well, but I'm not seeing it, right? So before I close, I want to go through Aches' tweets, because he makes a lot of great points. A lot of people, they don't like Aches, right, to some extent. But he does make a lot of good points on this issue, and he's definitely in the right on the majority of this situation here. So I want to go through his tweets up to the point where he starts talking about control. EMPs and smoke grenades, why are they not in the game? We have thermal in the game, but no smoke grenades. Blackout has a smoke grenade, but not multiplayer. EMPs were literally perfect in Black Ops 3. I don't understand where they've gone. Black Ops 2, they were way too strong, right? They stunned you for like 15 seconds, or you couldn't see anything for like 15 seconds. Your HUD disappeared. They were way too big range. EMPs in Black Ops 3, they did exactly what they were meant to do. They took out equipment, they took out specialist abilities, they prevented people from popping camo and that sort of stuff. Like, people were using them. People would switch to EMP classes a few minutes down the line, so that when they knew people were going to be popping active camo, they could chuck the EMPs out and then negate that effect. Beautiful. That's competitive integrity. That's strategy. This game, you don't even have the option. What am I meant to do against the barricades? EMP it? Not going to work. There's no EMPs. Am I meant to pull out a rocket launcher? Am I meant to have FMJ on my gun that might not even have FMJ on it? RC cars as well, they still kill through flak. You get 100 points for an assist. Fantastic point as well for Make2. You get it at 450, but you still get 100 points for every assist. You get them in next to no time, and they still kill through flak jacket. It's so ridiculous. When I'm playing GBs and I'm dying to an RC through flak jacket, what is going on, man? This is his most important tweet of the night, I think, and this is something that 100% has to happen if specialists are going to take their rightful place in Call of Duty as far as I see it. Because as I said earlier, the gunplay and the strategy and the tactics should take much more predominance over the specialist. And if the perks can actually deal with the specialist to a relatively good extent, then we might have a game on our hands. Black Jacket should allow you to take little damage from Barricade, War Machine and Purifier. Attack Mask should allow you to walk through Razor Wire and not get 9-banged. Little damage from the Reactor Car and more time to hit Screw on Seeker. I mean, Attack Mask already does just eliminate the Seeker entirely, but the fact that it still seeks you out is ridiculous. Also, Cold Blooded does like, well, it doesn't do nothing, but say they call in a chopper, you put Cold Blooded on, it still locks onto you, but it just takes a couple more seconds. For some reason, they've made the perks completely useless. They like half the time, whereas in the past, say Black Ops 2 Tac Mask. If you got stunned, you were stunned for like 3 or 4 seconds without Tac Mask. With Tac Mask, it's almost instant. The thing is in this game, the specialists do not counter each other. The specialists aren't like elemental, right? You don't have one specialist that can easily counter the other specialist. Unless you're somehow expecting me to whip out a War Machine when he puts the barricade and the razor wire down. The specialists don't really counter each other. They need some sort of counters. At least in a game like League of Legends, the different champions, they have counters to each other. You can pick one to try and counter the other one, knowing who you're going to be battling up against in the lane. This is such a different situation. And I think Ajax is completely right on this issue. This is a fair point as well, tying back to what I said earlier. Why would I use a frag grenade right now? Why would I use a concussion when I can have a grenade that does everything for me? Stuns, blinds, complete area of effect, like bangs off 9 times. And I get it for free. I don't even have to spend a point. Delusional. So we keep scrolling up. You know, Ajax makes a fair point about having hard counters here. And yeah, he's so right on this issue. They tried to market the game, it's going to be super tactical. They even mention in the announcement, actually, I won't go back to it now, but when they talk about control, they're like, oh, it's a tactical mix of hardpoint and search and destroy. Like, are you watching the same game that I'm watching? You are terrible at the game compared to the pros, Mr. Treyarch. You sit there in your studios using the LMGs, playing super slow. You don't even know what's going on with the spawns, because the spawns are absolutely tragic in hardpoint right now. You barely even understand your own game, it seems. And the pros trying to tell you what's what, and then you're like, nah, fuck that, we know what's best. When these guys' careers are potentially on the line if they don't place top 32 at Vegas, which is probably going to have the least competitive integrity of any event I've ever seen in my entire life. And let's talk about Search and Destroy for a quick second. The fact that there's no point running a frag grenade or a tactical or anything like that because your specialist equipment is way more powerful and you get it for free, and even if you do run a frag grenade, because it builds up over time and you don't get it at the start of the round, are you going to be waiting around, or are you going to be waiting up for nades, like to try and throw set nade throws? You don't even have a smoke grenade to try and get onto a site, so what other solution is there other than just to 5-hit something? There is no solution. It is incredibly boring. So anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Pretty long video, but I hope you enjoyed this to some extent. I don't know how much you share these thoughts. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you are new. And goddamn, like, the version 1 come out yesterday. I'm hoping for a version 2 tomorrow, but we're probably not going to see one for another couple of months. Disappointed but not surprised. That basically sums up my entire opinion on Black Ops 4 in general. I think the Gentleman's Agreement Brigade and Slacked & Co. need to come out in full force if this game is going to be any good at all. So many issues for competitive right now. We're literally playing public matches in the CWL Ruleset with very few changes, which is tragic for like a hardcore competitive fan like myself, I guess. So Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and